meeting to order, and I'd like to thank the Board of Commissioners for adjusting your schedules to come in this morning so we can address the very important matters that's on our agenda this morning so we can move along. But before I start, I'm going to do something just a little different for our special call meeting. I'm going to ask our Commissioner Carthen if she could just render a little small prayer for us, and then we'll move on into the agenda and start the order of business. Commissioner Carthen?
If all hearts and minds are clear,
Yes.
Father God, we invite you into this special call meeting. We ask that you would allow the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts to be acceptable in thy sight. Give us wisdom, give us discernment, and give us care for those you have allowed us to be the voice for. I ask, Heavenly Father, that you would bless everyone that comes into this courthouse. Let it be a place of peace and of spiritual guidance and uplifting. I thank you, Lord, for these blessings and others. In Jesus Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, we're going to move on. This is, again, not like a regular meeting, so we don't have the full setup with the Pledge of Allegiance and all the other items that are particularly on our other agendas, or should I say our main meetings. All right, we're going to move to our business items. Board of Commissioners, we will have to go into executive session for number one, which is the board appointment for the Board of Elections and Registration. At this time, Attorney Bernard, do we need to go into executive session?
Personnel and legal, Madam Chair.
Yes. Okay, we have personnel and legal matters to discuss in an executive session. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. Citizens, what I'm going to ask you to do, if you could, because the executive session shouldn't last no more than, how many minutes, Attorney? About 5 minutes, 5 to 10?
I would say no more than 10, Madam Chair.
No more than 10 minutes. Typically, we would go upstairs, but we're just going to huddle here, and we would ask if you could just step just in the little vestibule for us for a second. And then we promise you to be quick. If not, we've got to go upstairs, and it will take forever. Okay. Indicate by raising your right hand. Okay.
Go get it right. Henry. Oh, y'all.
Yes.
5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Mhm.
That's the quickest executive session.
Oh. Okay. Thank you all so much for your patience. We appreciate our citizens' patience this morning. Our executive session is now over, and we are back into the special call meeting. We just returned to our special call meeting. Board of Commissioners, thank you so much. Our board appointment, we have a board appointment, which is a Board of Elections appointment this morning. And I just want to start by saying, Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to appoint Maisha Good to the Board of Elections and Registration?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Guider.
She's on another board, so would she resign from that other board
Yep.
to take this?
Yes, she will.
Okay, I yield back.
Okay, Commissioner Mitchell says yes, she would.
Yes.
Okay, any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. Please indicate by raising your right hand.
Oh, we can electronically do it.
Okay, please cast your votes.
Okay.
Good, our system is up and running this morning. Thank you, Commissioner Mitchell.
I think Kelly did that.
Sorry, it didn't load for some reason. It's a 5-0 vote.
Oh, okay. But do you think it'll come up? The citizens probably want to see it now since we won't. Yeah. It's not loading.
It's not loading.
You want to do a hand? We just want to make sure that the citizens see. Okay, Board of Commissioners, we have a motion and a second in place for this BOE appointment. We have a motion and a second. Please, all in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. Our system also notes that we have a 5-0 unanimous vote as well, but it just did not record this morning, so we're still having some problems with our system. Clerk, we're going to continue to see what, Clerk,
Ma'am.
have you notified the company that helps manage this system for us to see what's going on? Because our last meeting, we had technical difficulties as well. All right, thank you. All right, we're going to move on to tab number 2. And tab number 2 is authorization for the chairman to execute part-time contracts for Tamara Mitchell, Alvin H. Darden IV, and Christy L. Walker as commissioners' legislative aides. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Commissioner Guider.
Yes, ma'am. I understand the Board of Elections thing, the emergency of having this call meeting for that purpose. I do not see something that has really become a controversial issue being placed on a call meeting rather than a regular Board of Commissioners meeting agenda. It just sort of gives the perception that we're trying to avoid the scrutiny of the public. And it just, to me, it's going to harm the public opinion of this board by having it on a special call meeting. I yield back.
You yield back? Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. Lisa, you think the system works this time? You're going to try it again? Okay. Well, Commissioner, let me just respond to you on, you had a question, and the question was today, you said you felt that it should not be placed on a special call meeting. Well, I have a situation where we have the legislative aides have already gone through orientation, so certainly don't want to put the cart before the horse, but that has already been done. And of course, I agreed to put it on the board, put it on this list this morning because we want to take care of business and make sure that these contracts are signed. So, Board of Commissioners, Attorney Bernard, I have a question for you. So we good? Everybody can stay in this meeting?
I'm sorry?
Are we good this morning? I'm asking a question.
Oh, I'm not sure I understand. Are we good, Madam Chair?
I'm asking, can all the commissioners stay? Are we okay by everybody voting this morning?
Well, that's up to the individual commissioners
Okay.
under the Code of Ethics.
Okay, that's fine.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
may I comment?
Yeah, you may.
All right, thank you. No, I appreciate weigh in on this. You know, as the county continues to evolve, continues to grow, you know, being in the 150th year, it's exciting. You know, this past weekend I was at Brookmont Community doing my, normal, making my rounds. We had about 70 people there, 10 o'clock in the morning. Given a standard update, I had Tracy Crooks there, was from the census, and David Good there doing the spots. My typical, road show. And here we are. Brookmont tends to be sort of probably the higher end of our communities in District 2. And we're just doing my normal, what I do. And of course, at some point, we got to, I did an entree into my legislative aide, and Alvin Darden IV did a wonderful job. And it was interesting watching the citizens. I mean, they're retirees, they're professionals, celebrities all over the board. They said, we'd like to see the next generation. We like that. And they applauded. They were encouraged. And again, very intelligent, obviously Morehouse graduate, University of Michigan, obviously urban planning, guy after my own heart. Oh, we're about to turn this thing to a whole nother level. Now, somehow I hear this controversy of, well, it depends on where you sit and where you see. I don't know what has happened in times past and how they might have viewed the world. I can't worry about that. All I know is District 2 now is going to a whole nother level because now we have a different intelligence set, right? That I can really challenge to say, okay, now let's go get this data. Let's make some quality decision making. Now that may not have been appreciated in times past, nor today. I can't worry about that. I can't put on those shoes. But you can't put new wine in old sheep cloth. So all I can do is for District 2, embrace the moment. Appreciate that the board did approve the amount of money that was necessary for this and go to the next level. And again, I get how one may wield their own district office. This is a district office. This ain't just about for me. This ain't just about newsletters and all that. Like, no, y'all ain't seen nothing yet. And so I can only speak to District 2 that know for the first time in history that now we're able to go to a whole nother level, and you'll see for yourself. You'll be able to appreciate the analytics that go into the decision making and how we begin to shape our decisions, and how we make District 2 vote matter even more. So from that perspective, I appreciate it. I do hear those citizens perhaps that, like, I just don't get it. I just don't, that's okay. For every yes in my district, somebody wanted to know. And for every no, somebody wanted to yes, and I get that. But we're gonna move forward for my vote today, and I appreciate it being on the agenda, and I yield back. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Vice Chairman. I just definitely wanted to generate some conversation, certainly not
I understand.
trying to pivot with a vote early, but I just wanted everybody to have some opportunity to weigh in. With that being said, Commissioner Mitchell.
I mean, I don't have much to say outside of, like Vice Chairman Robinson stating that to move the county forward, I think it's a wonderful idea to pull this off and to do this for the county, for those constituents who need that attention that we lack in doing. And I can't speak for all the commissioners, but I know with how I work and what I work in my normal job, this is going to be a huge asset. It's going to be a huge benefit to the citizens of Douglas County. I think we'll benefit royally by doing this. And I understood that with the perception of this and whom we are bringing on and the individuals, I understand that perception looks not favorable to what I think is right for what we should be doing, and I'll cast my vote accordingly once the question is called. I yield back.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. Certainly, we're trying to take this board to a whole new level with scorecards, pivot tables, dashboards, things that are 21st century. That's very, very important today. So just wanted to make sure that I reiterate what was mentioned earlier, but that's very, very important that we just keep moving this board forward and bring technology and advance Douglas County to a whole new level, because we must compete. We really must compete. Board of Commissioners, we have a motion and a second on the table. Please prepare to cast your votes. Something is missing. Now, let's see.
Wait a minute, it didn't count mine.
It did, it just covered the name up.
It just covered Ann's.
But
It
it's-
did not
passed
count mine.
3-1-1.
Got to acknowledge your vote, point of order.
Okay.
It just covered Ann's, no vote up, I guess.
You want to do it again? You just want me to do it manually?
I think it just needs to be stated publicly what the vote was.
Lisa, can you please state, because you're looking at it, what the vote was, please?
The The vote was 3-1-1, 3 approved, which was Commissioner Mitchell, Commissioner Carthen, and Commissioner, no, I'm sorry, Commissioner Carthen, Chairman Jones, and Commissioner Robinson all voted to approve. Commissioner Mitchell abstained, and Commissioner Guider opposed.
Okay. All right. The motion carries. We're going to move on to, and I'm doing something just a little different that I've done in the past. I'm going to allow the public to weigh in with your comments, and if you could, I ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes this morning, and I will ask the clerk to please keep time accordingly, or should I say measure our time accordingly this morning. We'll start off with Ms. Donray Leonard, if you could come forward, and you're from District 2, and your subject matter is assistant hiring.
Good morning.
Good
My
morning.
name's Donray Leonard. I'm in District 2. Today I'm speaking on the hiring of Tamara Mitchell, daughter-in-law of Commissioner Mitchell, District 1, for the legislative assistant position. Nepotism in the workplace is a form of discrimination where a family member is given preferential treatment towards a position regardless of talent and ability, or the talents and abilities held by other people seeking the position. It can be considered a conflict of interest and unethical at best. It looks bad. It's tacky. In the Douglas County 2019 Merit System Handbook, Section 13-56, Employment of Relatives, it clearly states, it is the policy of the county not to employ the same department of the county government any member of an employer's immediate family. For purposes of definition, immediate family includes daughter-in-law. The term department includes Board of Commissioners. 13-56A, no employee shall work directly for another relative. B, no employee shall be under the supervision of a relative. C, persons who are related as heretofore described shall not work together in the same shift unless requirements of the department are such that the department head feels that it's absolutely necessary for the protection of the county and the citizens in the county. And it goes on. Mr. Perry, you are the HR director. What say you? Surely you know the Merit System Handbook and the rules on nepotism. Commissioner Mitchell, you know the rules too. We know you have a workaround, so you can get away with the whole thing. But perception is everything. Do you honestly think the people of Douglas County will go along with this violation of county policy? Not only do we, the people, vehemently oppose the hiring of these 3 legislative assistants, but we also have an issue with you hiring your relatives, which did not come as a surprise. Elections do have consequences, and I have faith and look forward to the day when the new chairman will do his job, providing true leadership to the people of Douglas County and do away with the corruption on this board.
No applauding this morning, y'all. Thank you so much, Ms. Ray. We're going to move on to Wanda White. Ms. White, would you please come forward? And yours is assistant hiring.
Good morning, Wanda White, District 3. I think the citizens' comments would have been appropriate before the vote, but I'm here today to voice concern over the 3 legislative aides hired to assist the 3 commissioners who say they need assistance from new employees in order to fill their responsibility as commissioners. This county and its citizens need to be protecting government decision-making from political patronage and nepotism. Nepotism puts favoritism and privilege above fairness and merit. It also undermines the integrity of policymaking. The 3 employees are costing taxpayers $120,000 a year. If the duty of the county commissioner is too demanding and time-consuming, then I urge the commissioners who cannot fulfill his or her duties to step down and allow someone else to step in. This is a commitment when taken on this position. It's time to it's time we work to change Douglas County, starting with some of you. $40,000 is more than some teachers make starting out in a full-time position. $40,000 is more than firemen make working full-time. I've been contacted by employees who say they have been employed full-time for years, and they don't even make $40,000. This is a disparity in pay. The people saving our lives and building the lives of our young children do not even make $40,000 like these part-time positions. The commissioners and HR should be aware of the merit handbook. Family members cannot work in the same department, but yet here we are. You do it anyway. Why do we have rules if you choose not to follow them? Whether it is a contracted position or a regular employee, it should be handled the same way. In the past, job availabilities would be offered to current employees on bid. Why wasn't this job offered to current employees instead of new hires and relatives? We talk about bringing the county together, but yet we continue to put that wedge and grow these circumstances and build lack of integrity. As in the merit handbook, as Ms. Leonard stated, it does specify all departments within the county that no employee shall work under the supervision of a relative. And then it lists, of course, all the relatives included in the merit handbook. So I'm really ashamed that we let it go this far, and we can't even do our jobs, that we have to order or hire more people and spend more money when everybody should have known when they got hired for this position that you got to do your job. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. No applauding. Thank you so much, Ms. White. Typically on these special call meetings, there's no public comment, but I decided this morning I wanted our public to weigh in. So it's very good, very nice to hear your voices this morning, and I really appreciate your presence. Next, we have Mr. Jack Clower. Mr. Clower, please come forward, please.
Madam Chairman, Commissioner, Jack Clower, 5011 Moroni Mill Road.
Mr. Clower,
Think
thank you.
pretty well y'all all know me.
Yes.
Main thing is a point of information. You know, you call for a vote, I want to be corrected on this. That was just a vote to give you the right for part-time help.
No, it was the right for me to sign, just authorization to sign the contracts.
Okay, but see, you're voting before we ever even had the discussion and all stuff like that with the commissioners. What I'm trying to speak to you about, if you take a job, you don't need to take that job if you can't do it. When I was working, I didn't have an assistant to do my job as a business manager. So what I'm trying to tell you, who come up with the idea saying I'm needing help? Kelly, if you need help, quit the job. I'll get somebody in your place tomorrow. You know, if you can't do the job, don't put the job. It's a part-time job. Now you're going to hire a part-time person to do your job. It don't add up. What I'm trying to say, you need to get rid of this idea. It's a bad idea. This is probably the only county I've even heard of wanting a part-time help. Can you relate any other counties doing it?
I can.
Okay, would you address that, please?
You have Fulton County that has.
Fulton County?
You have DeKalb County. You have Cobb, Clayton. All of them have assistants. So this is not new. Douglas County is just behind. So this is not a new trend. This is something that, so Ms. Cloud,
Okay.
you know I do my homework. So these.
You have other counties doing it, so we're
Yes,
going
sir.
to follow them demise like that down the tube.
No, I'm not going to say that, Mr. Cloud.
Okay.
Okay.
$120,000 is what you're looking at, probably roughly.
Yes, sir.
Paying them. And the lady said a while ago, $40,000. There's several people in here that don't make $40,000 a year. If you'd advertise it on the street saying we hiring part-time help here, something else this morning, it really hit me too. This meeting's at 10 o'clock in the morning. All my constituents are at work.
Yes, sir.
Because we would have had this place filled with people in opposition because we're not ready for a part-time.
Yes, sir.
So all I'm asking you is turn it down and go forward with it because, you know, you've been doing your job for the last years and didn't have a helper.
Yeah, I understand, Mr. Cloud.
And if you had an assistant, your lips would get poked out when that assistant told you, say, you know, Ramona, we don't need to be doing this. Who are you to tell me I'm the boss? Then you got a conflict with everybody. but I'm asking you, get rid of this idea. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cloud. Mr. Cloud, this decision was made December the 19th, I believe it's the 19th, in the approval of our 2020 budget. And so it's already been done, so all we're doing is moving forward. They're just authorizing me to sign this morning. I'm the only commissioner that has the ability to sign off. Okay, we're going to move. Vice Chairman Robinson.
Yeah, thank you. And I don't disagree. I think that having you guys' input prior to our decision would have been ideal. I would have loved to have heard that because it's in retro. And it just sort of, But okay. But Mr. Cloud, I get it because you addressed me directly. No, one's not related. I've done my job well for 12 years. High performance, don't miss, highest attendance, right? I put in the time, more than what you pay people full time. Right? So that's not the issue for District 2. But we don't have to do it the way it's historically been done. That's the departure that they both can coexist. Those that don't want it, that's fine. Those that do, they can. Let it play out. Again, how you may see the world and how you may approach it is acceptable. They can coexist. But for District 2, you can't say what I know and don't know, how I perform until you walk in these shoes. That's important. How you historically done it, the person, my predecessor, come on. There was not much there. You didn't have town halls. You didn't engage. You didn't do anything prior to me showing up on the board. Now all of a sudden, it's this higher standard, this higher scrutiny, which I'm game for. But look, it's always important. Look at yourselves. Look at history. And you're judging this in such a way that, like, well, wait a minute. Give us a chance. Right? But yes, there is a departure. It doesn't have, we don't have to do it that way. The whole point of having somebody come in differently is to do it differently, not to maintain the old. My citizens didn't send me down here to maintain. They sent me to change. And so that's important. And so I need a higher level of intelligence for me, like, okay, I need some reports, I need some information. I need to go deeper than just coming up here like puppet heads. Yes, like it's committee. This is not a glorified committee role. You got to put in time with this. Anybody wants to challenge me on the fact of what it takes to do this, I look forward to that. This is about time. Are you committed? Are you willing to get the issues? Right? You didn't have town halls prior to our generation coming on board. You didn't even engage with the citizens. That's like District 3. It was so pent up. Like, but all of a sudden now we're growing. I get it, guys. It's growing. I know most of it. I'm hearing people want to just maintain and say, why you got to change? Why you got to do it? Like, guys, we've aged out. Our systems have aged out. Our technological infrastructure has aged out. Our roads have aged out. We've got to invest. Most of our population, most of our directors, they all pensioned out. Now, as it relates to living wage, and I'm down for that. Let's advocate for it. I'm down for advocating for a higher wage for our public safety. No doubt about it. I'm solid. Like, let's have that conversation. Yes, there's compression. I get it. What's your priority? I'm game for that conversation. Right? But and maybe that's just the lead that says, well, if I were making a decision, I'm going to take care of mine. And so my decision alone was like, okay, I got to pay for what it's worth. I've been consistent with that statement. Now, for my public safety, for my clerks, all of those, let's have that conversation come budget cycle. I'm down with that. Let's have that conversation about how we really need to pay people, which we haven't. It's like it's not aligned. I'll be glad to have that conversation. I yield back, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, next we have Mitch Stearns. Pronouncing your name right. If you could just repeat it.
Yes, my name is DeWitt Roper. I'm taking Mitch's time. I live at 6826 Cedar Mountain Road, Douglasville, Georgia.
Mr. DeWitt, we typically don't do it, but I'll hear your voice out.
You can't do that?
No, we usually don't do it that way. That's part of our policy, so.
Yeah.
But this is an official meeting, so we
That's the way
can.
we do it.
Yeah, we don't
Most
usually do
meetings I
it.
go to.
No,
Okay.
we don't allow it to happen.
Can I speak?
Mr. DeWitt, I tell you what, let's do this. Because you're not on the list, when I finish.
Well, I
with
tried
the-
to get on the list. I just took it up, you know. They don't let us know outside that we've got to sign up 5 minutes beforehand. You know, if y'all announced that outside, we wouldn't come in here blind, not knowing that we couldn't speak. That's the reason I came up here, was to speak.
Yes, sir, and I know typically, like as I mentioned earlier, usually in a special call meeting, the citizens don't speak at all. I made an exception this morning because I saw that I knew we were going to have quite a few people here. So that's why at the end, I just put it on here. I said, I want to hear your voices. Mr. DeWitt, you have 3 minutes. Just finish. Okay, I'm going to make an exception. I've made one already. I'm going to make another one. Let's go.
Well, I think what y'all have done here this morning is reprehensible. It's outrageous. You know,
Yes, sir.
when we elect citizens, commissioners, we expect them to be honest, to have integrity, and to be good stewards. If each of y'all would put yourself in the place of a brick mason, or a concrete finisher, or somebody changing bedpans and soiled linens at nursing home, or waitresses that stand on their feet for 8 or 10-hour shifts. Buford Hudson up at Hudson's, 83 years old, standing on his feet all day. People driving tractors in the heat and the humidity of the sunshine in the summertime. It's just outrageous that you would, if you're not up to the task, don't do the job. Ann, are you able to do your job without an assistant? You know, I don't understand what's going on. Plus, it was already baked in. You've already authorized the money. You've already come up with the names of the people who did it. They wasn't advertised to the public, you know. Were these jobs offered to the public?
They were. It was
They were
advertised. Yeah.
But, you've already allocated the money for the jobs. You've already knew what the vote was going to be, so I don't really know why you put it on the agenda items. But if you're going to be good stewards with the people's money, you ought to act like that you earn the money the way the people that are sending the money up here did. And this is just outrageous of what y'all are doing here. And it seems to be a pattern. The coroner, she couldn't do her job without hiring 2 more people. None of this. Will it be next year you need another assistant? Where does this end? We just really expect y'all to do a better job of taking care of the taxpayers' money than what you're doing now. And with that, I yield.
Thank you so much, Mr. DeWitt. I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate you coming in, Mr. DeWitt, this morning. We're going to move on to Michael DeFord of District.
Madam Chairman, can I have a little last minute, 30 seconds?
No, sir. Mr. Clyde. No, we'll talk after the meeting now. I've been very generous this morning. Michael DeFord, if you come up.
Good morning. Can all of you hear me?
Yes, we
Can
can.
you hear me back there? All right. Good morning. I'm Michael DeFord, live in District 3.
Hello, Michael.
I've been following in the videos as they're posted, and I took my time deciding whether I wanted to speak up and say something about all that or not. I will say that for another time. I will also follow up or back up the other comments that were made. If any of you are unable to function in your job position without assistance, it's a part-time job, I recommend you hit the road. If you're working for me, your bags have been packed December 31st and gone. That's just that. You either show up and do the job or pack up and go. Some of the stuff I've seen, if some of us are veterans, and we know full well that sooner or later, CID would be hauling you in on a 16-5 or a 15-6 investigation, and you get pulled through the verbal knothole. But I'm really ashamed of the conduct that you people have displayed in managing the taxpayer's dollar. We have roads, especially in D3, that are in dire need of repair. That's not being done. We have roads in other areas that are in dire need of repair that are not being done. And to close out, always remember, perception is everything. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. DeFord. I ask that you, if you could, just refrain from clapping this morning. That's not part of the, we really don't need to do that this morning. Let me say one thing to you, Mr. DeFord. I know you said one thing, but the purpose of this meeting is to allow me to authorize the board is just authorizing me to sign. The vote took place on December 19th, and I can't, say that and stress that anymore. It's just to allow me to sign, so I just wanted to make that very clear to you, okay?
Well, I just wanted to make very clear that if I'd had the time in December, I'd have been up here front and center saying the same dang thing.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to make that clear to you. Thank you so much for coming in.
Pretty
I
sure
appreciate-
you're aware of that.
Yeah, I appreciate you, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to, you have something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
There
you, Madam
go,
Chair. No,
Commissioner.
I appreciate the sentiments, especially regarding spend. And we talk about roads, which is I made my comment earlier. And I'm listening to the sentiments. And under this administration, more roads have been done in the history of this county. Now, when I came in 2008, obviously coming out of the flood of 2009, and immediately we had this jail that we overbuilt, $120 million, right? You got 3 floors that are not even being used. We had to sue the prior program manager to fix it, this Taj Mahal jail. Now, I shouldn't have to do all that work for something that should have been done right. I appreciate everybody acting like bosses. All right? Think about it. It's overbuilt. $60 million overbuilt. Now, if we spread that out over the roads that could have been done, we know right now to repave every road in this county, it's $150 million, based on the Moreland study that was just done. Roughly $150 million. Every road, 700 centimiles, could have been repaved. But our priority versus spending $10 million on the land and $120 million on that big building that only holds 700 people, I'm like, okay, so 130 versus 150. And I'm listening to the criticism. I'm looking for the trade-off in priorities. All right, so for 700 people to be, obviously inmates, what about the other 149,000? What about everybody else? So I appreciate, I really do, but I'm like, okay, but now that we're on deck, now we got to make up for all the maintenance, all the roads, all the things that were not done, that were neglected because it was an excessive policy. I appreciate what you're saying. We're spreading it out. It's about equity, right? And we're spreading it out in such a way that says, okay, guys, we can't do it all, but let's balance our spend. The policy that was in place up until this point was it was excessive. $5 million cash on an animal shelter? See, but now here we are, we're like, okay, trying to get our minds right now. How are we going to do these roads? Right? How do I now, I finally, pave Warren Road. Now, this past weekend, they said, well, can we at least get some street lights on the commissioner? That's a cut through. Too many people cutting through right there at Warren Road. I'm like, all right, I'll be right back. I'll put it on the list. No, we're actively working. I'll take a position, anybody who wants to say that for District 2, I don't work. I take care of District 2. But we're trying to go to an even higher level, right? If you look at the decisions that have been made historically, it's like, don't make me really judge it. Like, no, guys, come on. I'm saying we're okay. Let's move forward. Because if you look at how you really spent this money, spending our money, since I've come in here, it's like, okay. So we're saying, okay, we got it. We understand. Let's balance this. Right? We got to make up for something that wasn't historically taken care of. Right? So we're like, okay, let's pave some roads. Let's do the best we can. Let's fix some parks that wasn't. You guys didn't maintain anything. I have a problem with an ideology that's so excessive in its conservation that it didn't maintain anything. It just wants to let it die. And for the next generation to pick up when it's done, it's like, guys, you need to be more balanced. I have a problem with that. So for my vote and for my decision, it's like I have to cast it in such a way toward I need more information to make a better decision. It says, okay, for District 2, let's go here and analyze, okay, how long has this road been done? How do we prioritize that? Let's get these neighborhood planning units in place that I've been working on. Let's get these HOAs I've done, 49 communities. Said, okay, guys, I need each of you to weigh in individually as a grouping, and you guys decide how you want that area. Silver Creek is totally different than Tributary, it's different than Brookmont, it's different than Parkside. Everybody's a little bit different. Mount Vernon. I need y'all all to weigh in. I'm not dictating anything. I serve. But I need you to talk, so it has to be aggregated. You have to recognize, and I'm going to close on this, you have Madam Chair, yes, she leads 1,000 employees, right? Half of them are public safety, we'll take them off the grid. But for the most part, that's the implementation. We're Congress, we're General Assembly, we're down in our district. What support we've got for 35,000? We have to get in there, we have to get out there and figure out what our citizens want. She has a whole staff, like, guys, y'all not looking at this right way, right? You got our state legislators that actually have aides. I was just down there. I was in the Minority Whip's office on Monday. We're doing Douglas County Day in Douglas, and obviously down at the state capitol. And that $28 billion, he walked through the office, walked through the door with had his $28 billion budget. And I was talking to the aides that were up there, and I said, you got to get any advice for them? And they said, make sure you listen. Make sure you learn, stay in your lane, that type of thing. And it was pretty decent. But they're important to the fabric, guys, that you don't miss anything. This is no longer, when I moved in here in 1990, there were 71,000 people. It's now going on 170. So 100,000 people have moved in here in my adult life. I know some of you have been here all your life. Why we got to change it? Like, God, there's a lot of people that live here. This ain't when you came online. There's a lot of people. And I know how we stay in our tribes, in our bubbles, and we don't acknowledge these other people. But they're like, well, how are you going to get to me? See, if you don't talk to everybody else, this thing has scaled in such a way like, okay, it's 100,000 people have moved in here that were born here. You're not acknowledging the fullness of how many people are in this county. It has to scale. It has to grow. So while I appreciate that, we're going to do the best we can by these dollars. Yes, we have to recalibrate our fiscal policy regarding how money was spent, recognizing that we are behind, knowing that, no, we just ain't going to be able to get to all of it. Miguel, do the best you can. Let's key up this framework. And we're going to do the best we can. But I appreciate your sentiments on that you disagree. Now, if anybody out of District 2, got it. You're against this. I have to acknowledge it. But please, allow it to have room that says it doesn't have to be done that way, right? There was no decision that was made, no promise that says I would maintain the way you did it. That was never a commitment. It was to do the best you can to move us forward, just fulfill what we ask. And so, again, what I'm hearing is just one side of the argument, because, again, I come out of another meeting and people are celebrating that. So it's not just one view. There are multiple views in our districts. And we as commissioners have to balance this. Okay, we've got these conflicting views. It's not about me versus what the citizens. It's like there's a citizen base that's like they're conflicting as to how they want to go this way versus that way. We as commissioners have to make the choice. So I do appreciate it, and I'm going to yield the floor. But again, I think it's important to acknowledge that, no, you heard. I get it. You were against it, and I yield. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Hold on.
Commissioner Robinson.
Isn't this public comment? Isn't this our time?
It is, Mrs. Ray. Yeah, it is. I'm moving on to the next person. You ready?
Point of order, Madam Chair. Point of order. Can I just
Yes.
I just want to say, if we can, so this won't be prolonged, as I understand those that are against and or for whatever this is all about. But can we at least, I don't know how many more from the citizens that we have that are speaking, about 2 or 3 more?
Yeah, we have.
If I could ask my colleagues to at least allow these guys to speak, have their
absolutely.
point of reference, have their point, hold on, have their point of reference, and then once that's done, if the commissioners would have any other comments, if they would at that point in time relay their comments. But at the end of the day, whatever the list is, Madam Chair, if we can kind of just get through the list, and then we'll move forward, if you would, please.
Okay, we
I
have
yield.
3 more comments, and once we finish, I'll ask the attorney to weigh in on some of the conversations that have been had so y'all could hear a legal opinion. So we're going to move on to Cassia Polk. Good morning. Please come up. And you have 3 minutes, and Lisa, you're timing everybody. Yes.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Cassia Polk, District 2, and thank you for giving us this time to have the public comment. Definitely, I really appreciate you acknowledging that we definitely want to get through the public comment at this time. I feel it's important for me to publicly state my position as a concerned taxpayer on this special meeting that's being called today. As our elected officials that campaign to represent the taxpayers in a position that is part-time, so no surprises there, and then hire legislative aides that seem to have more expectations and a higher salary on a part-time basis than the elected official, that's concerning to me. I believe that more time should have been given educating our public on why this is needed, what alternatives could have been explored, and why those alternatives would not have worked better to serve you in your capacity. From the outside looking in, I know that what you do is more than a full-time commitment on your part-time basis. However, this solution does not reflect a good use of our taxpayer dollars. Second, in a state where confidence of our elected officials is oftentimes met with skepticism, in order to restore that confidence, you just don't meet it with openly hiring relatives to directly reporting positions. That further plants a seed of the public, plants a seed in the public wondering whether other areas of your public service are questionable. For me, I always want to see that my elected officials are presenting themselves in a way that I would not question their integrity at all. Lastly, I also believe it's concerning that while other counties are having special public meetings to address the game plan to keep us safe, should a COVID-19 outbreak occur in the area, we in Douglas County are having a special meeting to vote on the contracts to add the legislative aides. Why this is not being decisioned or voted in a regular public meeting, public work session, that was concerning to me. So thank you for allowing me to say my comments.
Thank you so much, Cassia. We're going to move on. I promise I need to respond to your question or your concerns, but I'm going to let everybody finish and follow the order of this agenda, or should I say the citizens' input that have registered. Next is Ms. Sharon Buckle. Ms. Buckle, please come forward.
Sharon Bachtel, District 3. I'll be short because I've already spoken twice about this before the board. 4 years ago, we were told the BOC had overspent their budget by more than $4 million. It seems after all these years, with this commission, nothing has changed. This commission approved a budget that was $5 million over budget. What happened to that concern for overspending? It was very disturbing for me to see 3 commissioners vote themselves $120,000 for aides when they knew they were already spending over budget. I disagree with spending our tax dollars for these aides, and I think the commissioners should do what they were elected to do, spend our money wisely.
Thank you, Ms. Buckle. Thank you so much. And last but not least, we have Mr. Brandon Penniman. Please come forward, and your subject matter is leader support for BOE.
All right. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Brandon Penniman. My address is 1082 Abington Court, Douglasville, Georgia, 30134, which is in District 1. And this morning I come to you as a concerned citizen and also as a community advocate. I want to start by just stating 5 core facts. Fact number 1, we as Douglas County are one big family. Yes, we live in different districts, but aside from that, we're one family, one neighborhood, one community. Core fact number 2, you guys as commissioners have made a selfless act to become a civil servant for our community, and for that I say thank you. Fact number 3 is that each of you, with the exception of Madam Chair, are part-time employees, but you have taken on a full-time responsibility as leaders of our community. And for that, I thank you again. Core fact number 4. Aside from being a commissioner, 2 of you also, as we already mentioned, hold additional full-time jobs to maintain a living. And for that, I applaud you. And finally, fact number 5, we as taxpaying citizens are always monitoring how you budget our money and how you represent us within our individual districts. So to that, I tell you to please be warned. Now, with these 5 core facts in mind, I would like to express my personal opinion in regards to the new aides that the 3 commissioners have requested. First off, I feel that it is pertinent for our leaders that our leaders are given the proper support needed to fulfill their responsibilities. In order to continue to work and deliver at the highest levels, I believe it's appropriate to hire the proper personnel. The aides requested by the commissioners will be an asset to our community and to our commissioners, as they will be more frequently in the office to help with day-to-day nuances. They will also be more readily available to answer and return citizen phone calls. They'll also be more readily available to reply to citizens' emails. They'll also be able to attend commissioner meetings when commissioners may not be available. And they'll also be able to help ensure that commissioners are properly prepared for their individual committee meetings and also their group work sessions. I consider this and everything mentioned before to be quite important to our community. As I close, I want to leave you with one final fact and one final quote. The fact is that as a board under the previous administration, 3 of the 5 members voted yes to spending $120 million on a new, cutting-edge, state-of-the-art corrections facility in Douglas County. Unfortunately, this is one of the most expensive infrastructures and investments that has been made into our community to date. With that being said, I feel that we should be more than willing to spend $120,000. If we're willing to spend $100 million on a jail, we should definitely be willing to spend $120,000 to make sure that our commissioners have the appropriate assistance that they need. As I leave, I want to close with a quick quote. And this quote is from a gentleman by the name of Peter Brigman, and it's from the Harvard Business Review. In the Harvard Business Review, he mentioned that if leaders refuse to acknowledge their weakness, their work will ultimately become counterproductive. He went on to say that the best leaders in the world are the ones who are not afraid to ask for help. With that being said, I would like to speak in favor of the new aides for the commissioners and ultimately remind you guys that our community is in your hands, so please act accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brandon Penniman. We appreciate you coming in, Mr. Penniman, today. Before we move on, and I wanted to just have our attorney weigh in on just some of the concerns, but I want to talk about the coronavirus or the COVID virus. That's very important to me as a Board of Directors member on the Public Health Department here in Douglas County, both Cobb and Douglas. I serve as a Board of Directors member. I have 40 years in healthcare and had the opportunity of leading sterilization and disinfection all over this United States. I just wanted to make it very clear we have a PSA that's going to be rolling out to all our citizens in Douglas County on Friday, so some things are being done. I've had my initial task force meeting because right now we are not at an imminent threat. We've on our website, we do have all the various precautionary measures that we want our citizens to take, and we want you to keep your hands clean. If you're coughing or have a cold, you need to stay, should I say, almost barricaded in your home until you feel better, because we want to make sure that you have not been exposed to the coronavirus. We want to make sure if you blow your nose or anything like that, you need to put the tissue in the trash and not move it from one place to another. So there are some precautionary measures being taken at this time. We are moving quickly. I will have a meeting with the entire city, both Villa Rica and Douglasville officials appointed and elected that'll be coming up next week. My executive assistant is working on that as we speak. The main thing that the Board of Directors from the Public Health Department, we're just asking the citizens to stay calm, and the main thing, with my 40 years of healthcare experience, the main thing you need to do is keep your hands washed. I want you to follow the 20-second rule. You can sing happy birthday, or you can just time your washing. Make sure that you wash between the thumbs area. That's very important because that's where all the bacteria harbors. So we just stay tuned. We have some PSAs coming. Should hopefully infiltrate your televisions. And also I'll be rendering or conducting a PA here at the courthouse, PSA here at the courthouse. So for those who are wondering if Douglas County is doing something, absolutely. We are not sitting on the sidelines. This is, now I'm in my wheelhouse, healthcare. And I would love to talk to anybody that have any questions about healthcare. Thank you. What I'm going to do, I'm going to yield to you, Attorney Bernard. There was just a couple of questions that the citizens were concerned about. And my question to you is, and that I asked so diligently this morning, because I just really, this is my first time hearing about a relative being hired. But my question to you, and which solidified my vote this morning, but it was not voting to whether I bring someone on. It was voting to move forward with these contracts. And I'm the only one that can sign, and I'm going to sign these contracts so we can move forward. Could you chime in, Attorney, please?
Madam Chair, I think I understand the question.
Yeah, the question is it illegal? That's my question too. And you can.
The short answer is technically no, and I'll probably need to explain that a little bit more, and then I'll get, if Fred wants to pipe in. With respect to, and I'm going to look at it if you don't mind on my phone so I get the words right. Section 1356 of the merit system clearly has a nepotism policy, clearly includes daughter-in-laws. It says in Section 1356, and I quote, "It is the policy of the county not to employ in the same department of the county government any member of an employee's immediate family." Then by definition of immediate family, the merit system includes daughter-in-law. When it speaks to the prohibition of hiring a member of an employee's immediate family, commissioners are not in the merit system treated as employees. So by definition, the quote is employee's immediate family. Since commissioners are defined elsewhere in the merit system as elected officials, they aren't employees for purposes of that provision. A commissioner is not an employee but elected official. Thus, the technical reading of that provision would not prohibit the county from hiring an elected official's relative, provided they weren't merit system members. So then you get to Part B of that. Part B is part-time or contract employees are not merit system members by definition. So the problem principally is where the policy is housed. The policy is housed in a merit system that doesn't apply to everybody. So in this case, these people are being hired as contract employees on a part-time basis. By definition, they're not under the merit system. So that's the answer to the first part of that. The second part is you got to look at state law. And state law, and I don't want to give a presentation on all the ethics concerning the other stuff, but I will deal with just simply state law. State law has a similar provision about public OCGA 451080A, which says a public officer, including a county commissioner, is, quote, prohibited from advocating for or causing the advancement, appointment, employment, promotion, or transfer of a member of his or her family if the position in question pays a salary of $10,000 or more. However, unlike Douglas County's merit system, the state statute defines family member as, quote, a spouse and all dependent children. That's OCGA 215-317. Therefore, technically speaking, there's not a violation of current county ordinance or state law. It is a little bit concerning that the policy is buried in the merit system, which means by definition, it would not apply to everybody that could potentially be employed by the county. But that's probably because when the merit system was written, they didn't have part-time employees or they didn't have contract employees like we now have. I'm not sure because I wasn't around then. Yes. But I hope that answers the question. And Fred, I don't know if you have any more than that, but that's the two issues I had.
Director Perry, if you could just come up and further expound. And I want to make sure the citizens here, because this morning when I arrived, I was hit with the big controversy we have. I said, wait, I don't even know who you're talking about. I don't ask questions. I don't hire. These are our commissioners' legislative aides. I was not even involved in the hiring process. So if you could talk.
Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners, I will stand on the definition and the explanation that our legal has provided. I would like to comment on the process that took place in hiring the aides that we have.
Yes.
There were some comments that were made in terms of was the position offered to the public. And in that regard, it's a resounding yes. The position was a part-time position that we advertised much like all other part-time positions. We ran it through our Civic HR online application platform. That position ran from January 28th through February 11th, and the vacancy announcement period varies from position to position. So during that time frame, we had about 61 applicants, which is a large number of applicants, and it just goes to show that the Civic HR online platform is doing exactly what it was intended to do. It's opening up the county's ability to attract and reach applicants from all across Georgia. So that's a good thing. We had 61 applicants. 6 interviews was scheduled for District 2, 5 for District 3, and 4 for District 1. And the process yielded 3 individuals that I think are well qualified for the position.
Okay. Thank you. Any other? Commissioner Carthen?
So you all out there know I don't say much. And so if I say anything, it's because I feel as though it's needed to be said. I don't sit up here just to pontificate, just to let you hear me. If I say something, it's because it needs to be said. I didn't sign up to be the voice of District 3, to sit back and watch nothing get done. My first town hall, I had over 100 people in there talking about what had not been done. Right? I live right off of Chapel Hill. I know what needs to go on. We pull out into the traffic. We see the backups. I too spend money in this county. My taxes, my property taxes, putting children in programs here. I have been in this county for 20 years, and I want the exact same things that you all want. But I'm not crazy enough to think that I can do that on a part-time basis. Now, I don't know what the other commissioners did before I got here, but I will not allow on my watch for this county not to have what it needs. So I'm not above myself to ask for help. When I came in, I said, how did this get done on a part-time basis? And then I found out a little history. Even the chairman's position was a part-time position before a couple of years ago. Think about it. 150,000 people in a county, and you want 4 people part-time to handle planning and zoning. You want us to handle your budget, your roads, your parks, the fire and EMS, and I could go on and on. To sit up here and think that we can be a Jack or Jill of all trades is crazy. I am a parent to 4 girls, but I am an awesome parent to 4 girls because I have a husband beside me. If I was a single mother, I'd try my darndest to get somebody to help me because it takes a village to raise them. It takes a village to make this county go. We are one county. I am your neighbor, right? I am their neighbors. To sit up here and think that I would allow this county under my watch, District 3 under my watch, to not get the things that it needs is shameful. And as long as I'm in this position, I'm gonna make sure I have excellent help, and I'm gonna make sure I do the very best for this county in District 3. So you don't have to like it. If you don't like it, don't vote for me. But watch, because actions speak louder than words. And I'm happy to have my aide because she's more than capable to do what needs to be done to press and push us along in District 3 and in Douglas County. And with that, I yield.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Carthen. Before we close, I just wanted to respond to Mrs. Leonard's concern. You mentioned something, and I just wanted to wait until everything ended. This board actually chases perfection to achieve excellence every day. And all of our commissioners had a choice whether they wanted an aide or needed one. And I honor their choices. Commissioner Guida said no. I said, don't force her. She don't need one if she don't want one. The other commissioners, Commissioner Carthen, Robinson, and Mitchell, said yes. So let me explain my position as the chairman. I think a lot of times the citizen want me to just dictate, and I am not a dictator. I'm a transformational leader. I'm one who thinks outside the box. I know that change is inevitable, and that's why I'm here today. You made a comment, Ms. Ray, that you said that you look forward to the new chairman. This is the new chairman. I am the new chairman sitting in this chair. Let me tell you why. My body of work is it can't be refuted. I don't know many counties that have $4.5 billion in their pipeline like I pulled through for this county. So I want to make that clear to you. All due respect, I encourage everybody to run for office. But when you get in here, you better be committed, dedicated, and ready to work. You don't know how many nights I stay in here with the lights off or on trying to get things done to move things forward. Again, I'm just making it very clear that Ramona Jackson Jones, again, I'll see whoever come to the poll. We'll see them at the polls. So I'm not going to get into that because that's elementary. I'm going to move more high level, the kind of person I am. A chairman is only one vote. That's all they are, just one vote. I certainly, and that's it. A chairman is not a dictator. When I led in private offices, or should I say for the private sector, I could execute a decision without any conversation about a vote. But today my job is to vote on decisions. And sometimes it just don't pan out. Again, if you look at December, it was a 3-2 vote for this. Guess what? This is a democracy. You don't win them all. The majority wins. I move forward. I'm supporting my Board of Commissioners, the ones that want aides, and that's just the way it is, and I will not back down. Again, the purpose of this meeting was for me to sign their contracts today, and I'm going to sign them, and I'm going to sign these contracts with grace and dignity because I'm very comfortable with my decision. I asked my attorney, I said, I need you to give me one response. Is this illegal? He said, Chairman Jones, no. So these aides have come, they've gone through orientation, and they've gone through the process. And I would not dare stop something that has already been done. So with that being said, citizens, I appreciate your diligence this morning. I respect your respect for me because I am not a dictator. And that's why I was not elected by the citizens of Douglas County to be a dictator. And that's just not right. We are one. And I've listened to some of the comments and I understand your frustration, but put your name on the ballot and run. And then we'll see you at the polls. With that being said, anything else from this Board of Commissioners? Okay. Commissioner Guida.
And you and I've had this conversation before. This should not be a platform to lecture the public. And so I think that if we're going to give them time limits, that we certainly need time limits up here. This is, you promised me you would do that.
I did, Commissioner, today because I did something a little different. I made an exception to allow this.
It kind of became a platform for campaigning. So
Okay.
I just feel like we need to limit the time limits on some of the comments that are made up here. And that would apply to all of us.
Right.
To all of us.
And I agree. But let me tell you what today, I made several exceptions. So that's why I made an exception today. Number one, typically citizens don't even weigh in on.
I'm not talking about the citizens.
I know, but I made an exception for the citizens and I'm making one for my Board of Commissioners today. And starting Monday, I'll pivot back to my rules that me and you discussed and all the other Board of Commissioners agreed upon. With that being said, we're going to...
I yield back.
Yeah. One more?
Vice Chairman, and with this, we're going to go with 3 minutes so we can move on.
And I appreciate it. This is important for, I don't know what side deal was cut regarding the Board of Commissioners. follow Robert's Rules of Order. We have to agree on how we will relegate ourselves. There is no unilateral, we're going to do it this way. Now, if it gets presented and we just don't say nothing, we let that be. Know the rules. Filibusters do happen. Know the rules. But don't be convenient. Now, last thing is, you guys know historically, don't come in here doing election mode trying to be convenient. Don't do that. Every time you give room to them to speak politically, you give us. That was during the Worthen administration. I don't have to give y'all history. Don't get convenient. Some of y'all are new to the party. Please, be respectful. Stay on task. But as soon as you take a political shot, you give equal air for somebody else to hit it back. Stay consistent. That's all I'm saying. So we're all getting convenient. No, nobody's taking a platform, but it's like, no, you don't get to get away with that. Right? So if you open your First Amendment, then you allow that. This is an election mode. If you want to be election, get out there on Facebook. Go where you need to go. Don't bring that in here. This should be about the business of the people. I shouldn't have to respond if you don't say nothing. Keep it out there. I yield.
Okay, thank you. All right, Board of Commissioners, that concludes our special call meeting. With that being said, this meeting is adjourned.